ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಣ್ಣ ಮುಗಿದಿದೆ ಅದು ಹಾಂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಹಾಂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಮೆಲೋಡಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ
If I ever lose my eyes, if my colors run dry, if I ever lose my eyes, I'm forgotten.
ಅದು ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರ್ದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಸೀಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ
ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಬಟ್ಟೆ
ತೆಗಿರಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ
and 50 feet. And 3 stories of arches in the attico on top. The Colosseum was the same all the way around, up to the earthquake of the 1349, when the south side of the Colosseum gradually collapsed. So, this is how the Colosseum would be. On the attico, there were 40 windows all around, and between the 40 windows, there were 40 bronze shields, nowadays gone, because of the earthquakes, and especially because of the spoliations of metals. The first materials go through the centuries. Easily could be utilized, melting them. The arches were 80 for each level, so 80, 160, 240 arches. Second and third stories of arches were decorated with statues. 160 statues, representing pagan idols and athletes in Carrara marble. The arches were, on the ground floor were entrances, 80 different entrances. 4 were special entrances, the 4 entrances and the 4 cardinal points. The 4 arches and the 4 cardinal points were north, south, east, west. North side for the Roman emperors, south side for the senators. East and west side central arches were the only 2 direct access from the outside to the arenas level for big animals, elephant, giraffes, whatever. Equipments needed for the games. The other 76 arches were for the common people. You can see on top of the arches, still nowadays, carved the Roman numbers. Can you see 54, 53, 52? Now, people getting this building, the capacity of the Colosseum were 50, 60,000 spectators. So they were ruled with tickets. And the tickets were or in wooden tickets, or terracotta. Small, little tickets. On which there was the entrance number, the level number, the seat number, and so on. And tickets were distributed freely by the Roman authorities. So everything was free. Games were offered by the Roman authorities. Why? Because that was the only way to control the power. The only way to promote politicians or whatever. Now, a famous slogan 2,000 years ago was "Panem et circenses," which means bread and games, plenty stomach, busy mind, people happy. They don't think about the problems. So, Roman authorities were offering food, drinks, and games to obtain political favors back. Another very important thing you have to understand. The mass media we have nowadays, which are TV, radio, internet, books, magazines, were not existing 2,000 years ago, as you know. So the only way to communicate with many people at the same time was when there were entertainments. That's why the Romans were building always huge buildings for entertainments. Soon after they were conquering new country, because in this way they were organizing games, entertainments. People were going to watch them because we're free. And in the meantime they were watching entertainments, they could be educated. So this was the propaganda, the only way to communicate with the many people at the same time. So these buildings for entertainments like the Colosseum were extremely important, were the mass media of 2,000 years ago. The value of the Colosseum was like a TV channel. If you own a TV channel, you can manipulate the opinion of the people. The Romans were coming here, and they were enjoying the games. In the meantime, they were enjoying Christian. They were eating, drinking, and having fun. And also, I don't know why, but every time there are movies about Romans or Roman emperors, in the movies are always crazy or gay. You never find a movie where you find a hetero Roman emperor, or finding out one movie. Why? Because that is a stereotype in Hollywood. Okay, but Romans, they had excellent emperors, more than the bad one, and also the Romans were not enjoying watching other people killing each other. Wrongly we think like this, because in the meantime there were entertainments, there were also public executions. So there was like a break between one game and the other, and then there were some criminals killed. And the criminals were killed with very painful methods. squeezed between stones, squirted, skinned off in the hot oil, in the hot water, burned, buried alive, eaten by animals, whatever you can imagine, crucified upside down. Why they were killed in such painful way? Because the more painful the method was, more people were thinking twice before to commit a crime. That was the only way to control the power and the crime 2,000 years ago. Nowadays, we have, thanks to our technology, different systems. But still nowadays, we kill the criminals with very painful methods. When we are comfortably sitting at home watching TV, we are educated and we learn what is good and what is not. And in the movies that we watch nowadays, there are always the bad guys and the good guys. The bad guys, they always die in a painful way in the movies, like the criminals of 2,000 years ago. So still nowadays we kill the criminals in painful ways. The only difference is virtually, but because we have a technology allowed us to do it. So we learn that it's better to be a good guy than a bad guy, watching and enjoying the TV. This was happening 2,000 years ago. So the method is exactly the same, it's only the technology different. So through the entertainments, propaganda through the entertainments, 2,000 years ago like nowadays. The games were going on for many days every year. 7-8 months of games every day is calculated they were organized by the Romans. And the Colosseum for 400 years was used 7-8 months every day. The games could go on for many days. The different politicians and authorities offering entertainments were offering games, paying for it, and the games could be 10 days, 20 days, 50 days. Now, the longest, the richest games offered by a Roman are the Trajan's games, Trajanus, arches. Typical of the Roman architecture are arches. Greeks and Egyptians were not using arches. The Romans are the first one that in a massive way they started to use arches, and they have learned, we said before, by the Etruscans living in the north of Rome. What is interesting that architecture is a science that is used to study the empty and the full space. Now, our apartments are a combination of empty and full space. Walls are full space, rooms are empty space. So, combining this, you obtain buildings or whatever. The Colosseum is composed by arches. In architecture, an arch is not an interruption of the space, but is a decoration, because we can look through the arch, we can walk through the arch. So it's not interrupting the space, but is decorating it. Is a full space around the empty space. A wall is empty space around the full space, so we can not look through it and we cannot walk through it. Being composed by arches, the Colosseum is considered a decoration of the space and not an interruption. Those buildings are instead interruption of the space. So those are buildings, this is a monument. That is the difference. So architectonically is a perfectly balanced, extremely harmonic. Even being very close is a massive building, because we said it's a 48.5 meter, 150 feet, but we don't feel like being in front of a building so high. But we feel we have in front of us something so harmonic that doesn't disturb our view. We have never the view into the canopy was open. The arena that sits in the canopy. In Latin, arena means sand. That's why we call arena this place, because there was a sand on the wooden floor to maintain clean the arena. 5, 6 levels. The first 4 in marble and travertine stone, top level wooden benches. And then the canopy on top, in silk, called velarium, which means the big sail. Now, the Colosseum, which is a few blocks away of the original floor, once paving the outside area. So inside the Colosseum was paved with these slices of travertino, and also the inside of the floor, and also outside, up to the grass, all the way around. There was a pedestrian area indicated by the travertine stone on the floor. Roman roads were instead paved with a polygonal blocks of lava, the famous Selciato Romano, which are the blocks of lava stone used to pave the roads. Lava is much harder than the travertino, so we resist to the chariots, to the wheels of the chariots. The Colosseum is on a podium. You see 2 stairs to reach it inside. And these brickworks here are not originals, but added only in the 1800s to support the north side, which is still standing. So walking around the Colosseum, on the both ends of the north side you find two brickworks leaning one against to the other to support the best preserved part of it, the north side. Okay? So these are not originals. The original structures are the one in stone.
So now we are going for entertainment. Free lunch and free drinks.
근데 파트 미세가요?
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋತೇನೆ ತೆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೆಗಿದೆ
Used for 400 years and was built by 10,000 slaves. The Colosseum is the first permanent and largest amphitheater built by the Romans. Capacity of this building 50,000-60,000 spectators. It's not round, it's elliptical, 600 meters the perimeter. Is from the north to the south 180. Even dwarfs sometimes they were funny, but it was a break between one combat and the other. So there was a moment of funny, and to have fun, to hilary, to smile about it. The competitions between professional gladiators were incredibly spectacular. A gladiator was, and especially those one that fight in the arena of the Colosseum, were the best gladiators of Roman history and in the Roman Empire. And the gladiators that fight in the Colosseum were the elite of the gladiators, the best one. They were fighting for the elite of the Roman Empire. And gladiators were excellent athletes, great warriors, good actors, acting but not simulating, fighting in a spectacular way. And today you're not the traffic is closed because if you come here during the week you find millions of cars driving outside. But this is the problem of the Colosseum. Anyway, a gladiator was also a man ready to die in the arena. We can say that a gladiator was a mix, a combination of, as we said, a cocktail of an athlete, a warrior, an actor, and a kamikaze. So they were real special, really special. And the names of gladiators are names like Palumbus, Leatherman, Invictus, Invincible Man, Brutus, Rude Man. Nowadays we have Iron Man, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. So the gladiators were the superheroes of 2000 years. 2000 years ago in the Colosseum, you could watch and you could see superheroes, monsters, dragons and animals. And that's why after 2000 years, when millions of people visit the Colosseum, 5.5 million people visit the Colosseum every year.
ಆಗೋದೇ ವಾಸಿ
Lì, sai quelle robe di ferro, ci stavano le persone più importanti.
Ah sì?
E l'imperatore stava in una posto personale.
ಅದೇ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜು ಲೋನ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ ಗೈಡ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೊ ನಾನು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ಬೋದು
L'hanno ricostruito.
ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದನೇ ಜಾಗ ಇದೆ ನೋಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಾ
Al podio.
ಇದೇನಾ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಮ್ಮು? ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ನು ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಫೋಟೋ ತೆಗೆಯೋಣ.
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಅಂತ ತೆಗೆಯೋಣ.
ಹತ್ತಕ್ಕಾಗದಿದ್ದು ಹಂಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೌಂಡ್ ಹಿಡಿತಾರೆ.
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಅಂತ ತೆಗಿಬೋದು.
ನೋಡಿರಿ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲ
ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನು? ಇದೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು
ಗೈಡ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆಯ್ತು, ಗೈಡ್ ಹೋಯ್ತದೆ. ಇದೇನು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇದೆ? ಇದು 18th ಸೆಂಚುರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿರೋದು. ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಒಳಗಿಂದು, ಅದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿರೋದು. ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ
Sí, al día siguiente me levanté y llegué.
ರಶ್ ಅವರ್ 3 ಫಿಲಮ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ಯಾ? ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಎಸ್ಕೇಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಂದು ಜಾಕೆಟ್. ಹಾಂ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಜಾಗ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ,
ಸೂಪರ್ ಪನೋರಮಿಕ್ ವ್ಯೂ,
ಮೊಬೈಲ್.
ಜನ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ?
ಆ ಆರ್ಚ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಂ, ಹೌದಾ? ರೆಡಿ ನೋಡಿ. What does the cross symbolizes?
Symbolizing the dead.
Dead.
The dead people.
ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಇದೆ.
ಓಕೆ. There's just one cross.
ಹಾಂ,
It's
One died.
no, signifying all.
It's one per head.
The Christians, you know about the Christians. The Christians have been persecuted for 250 years. Why Christians were persecuted? 2,000 years ago, again, start to say, we have to love each other. We are all equal, and there are no differences for God. All people are exactly the same, are brothers and sisters. This is you can say, the right message of these great, we can say, philosophers, because all the prophets, to me, are like philosophers. Then we can believe in the spirit and God, but let's try to think about philosophy of life. So, we are all the same, all human beings, and there are no better people than the other. Jesus Christ will say, sit down and try to breathe a bit of those emotions. I leave you because then in half an hour you have another tour. It's complimentary, and you go to the Palatine, which is the hill up there, where Rome was found, where emperors were living. So it's a very interesting tour. It's complimentary. Just be sure to be outside of the exit. There is only one exit. We got in from the entrance, so it's not that the entrance, it's the exit when you go out. And as soon as you go out, you will find David, which is the guide for the Palatine. He will have a brochure. They give you flyers. The green flyer will be waiting for you outside. David will be outside at noon in half an hour. So you have half an hour around the restrooms, pictures, whatever. Then go downstairs and go to the exit. Okay?
Roman Forum too.
Yes, Palatine Forum is the area. Okay, yes. Then you will have a 45 minutes, 1 hour tour extra, complimentary, and then you can spend more time by yourself.
That tour includes Palatine and
Yes,
Roman.
yes, yes, yes.
And
Yes.
what are these structures and what
These were
function of
everything. Those
the ones?
backstages. The backstage where they were organizing, keeping storage areas, keeping the animals, keeping the gladiators or the equipments. Were within that. Like in a theater, you have the backstages. These were underneath.
Okay.
And how with the slopes there? Those are the seats, is it?
Yes, there were the seats all the way up to the top, like those one that I indicated you before. So from there we go all the way up to the top, all the way around, like in a stadium. We are actually under the seats. There was a volta here, and there were the seats at the top. And this was one of the access to the seats, which were down there, on the right, on the left. Okay.
Oh, this one is a new structure, is it? That the thing is visible here?
Yes, it was everything underneath. Obviously, there was a floor, a wooden floor on top.
This is now recently constructed, this one.
Yes, it's year 2000. The stairs, the seats were rebuilt in the 1900s, reutilizing a few blocks of the original marble that were once.
Yes. And the platform used to be underneath this, is it? Platform where... Above this.
Above there, like that one all over.
Okay.
It's spoiled because of the earthquake, right?
Expoliations to the centuries, people cannibalizing the materials and earthquakes. But the earthquake the Colosseum was still standing. The problem that when we had the earthquake, the foundation on the south side are on the soft soil, so they cracked. Otherwise it was still standing because it's anti-seismic. With the iron clamps within the blocks were absorbing the vibration. Travertine, there were the walls.
Yes.
So the skeleton of the Colosseum is a travertine, which is a calcaire stone. Even our bones are calcaire.
Yeah,
So
calcium, yeah.
actually, the Colosseum is like a body. The meat are the flesh are the bricks, and the bones are the pillars in the travertine with the calcaire. And where are missing the original pillar in travertine because exfoliated, they've been replaced sometimes by bricks to maintain. So the bricks you have replacing the pillars are not original, but the one inside are original. You can see the difference now of the original. The not originals are more, I mean, you can see are new and they are not as more precise than not the original, but they are very similar. The Romans have invented the bricks, the terracotta bricks. And when you see arches like that one, that arch, there is not to decorate, but to distribute the weight of the top. So is a structural. Okay, exactly. Arches against arches. That was the new. And when they built the Colosseum, to build the Colosseum, the Romans have invited, we can say, the best engineers, the best of 2,000 years ago, considering a pooling team that worked together for 10 years. And to build the Colosseum, they have developed the techniques of construction in
Dove sono?
È dietro di noi.
Ну надо, я не люблю слушать. Теперь включи, пожалуйста.